Christmas is coming, it's true. And Santa needs assistance, old and new. These goblins from a village far away are just who he needs to save the day.
Hello, everybody. Welcome
Hi, everybody.
to the R&R show. My name's Ruel Gaviola, as always joined by the amazing Chris George. Hello, amazing Chris George.
Oh, hello, amazing Ruel. I was so lonely in our starting soon screen because we couldn't talk to each other, or I couldn't talk to you. But now we're back, and all my excitement is bursting forward. And Ruel, we had actually somebody redeemed Game Sommelier over on the Twitch chat.
Oh,
they
cool.
said this is from Rumen Boardi reviews
okay.
says, yeah, something like that. Says, "Hi Ruel, I'm feeling like a Christmas game about goblins. Do you have any suggestions?"
Oh, thank you, Roman Board. I appreciate
Yeah,
the
sorry
question.
if we're not pronouncing that right. Yeah,
We're not. Yeah, so our apologies. I'll also just call you Ruben Board for
Rumen
now.
Board. Yeah, something like Rumen Board.
Something
Yeah,
like
who knows?
that. But I'm glad you asked. Christmas is coming around the corner here, and we are getting close to the Christmas season. Well, you know what? I'm going to give you a fun fact, Chris. This is actually a true thing. I am my heritage is a Filipino. I'm Filipino American, and in the Philippines, we start celebrating a Christmas in September. Like literally any month that starts with BE or ends in BER, Burr, September,
That's
October, November, December, we celebrate Christmas. So this is a game for everybody, but especially for my folks, my peeps in the Philippines. I'm thinking of you as we celebrate Christmas now. You know what, Chris? Goblins don't like Christmas, apparently.
Yeah, goblins hate Christmas, as we just saw, and we want to give a huge shout out to Goblins Hate Christmas for sponsoring this episode of the R&R show. If you don't want coal in your stockings, if you don't want to be disappointed like the theme of this episode, well, you should go get yourself a little Christmas treat. Huge shout out to our friends over at Goblins Hate Christmas.
Yes.
Apparently goblins hate September, October, November, and December.
Yeah, those goblins. What are you gonna do?
The Filipino goblins. That's what they hate.
We know what you're doing to the Filipino goblins.
Yeah.
We are. It's a card game that's for 2 to 4 players. It's a quick playing game up to about 20 minutes or so, folks. Click on the links. If you're watching this on the VOD, click on the links below for more information. You can follow the campaign on Kickstarter. And for those of you watching live, hello and thank you for joining us. This is episode 106 of the R&R show. You may notice one of our hosts is not with us today. Ray is taking care of business, so it's gonna be Chris and myself. And of course,
it's the biggest disappointment. It's number one on the list is that Ray is not here joining us.
I love that. I sort of set you up for that, even though I didn't mean to. But yeah, that is the biggest disappointment. Ray not being here, friends. You know what's also disappointing? Technology. We had all kinds of tech issues beforehand. So boo on tech, but we are here just a few minutes late. And,
you know what? We hope that tech. We hate all technology here. We don't ever want technology to exist. That's the official stance of the channel. We're putting it out. We want all the technology to cease to exist. That's what we want to say because we hate it.
We do. At least.
What's it doing for us right now?
Not much.
Absolutely nothing.
It's giving me a headache. That's all I can say. Friends in chat who are watching live, I've just dropped the link to the Goblins Hate Christmas campaign. You can click on that. And again, if you're watching the VOD, click on the show notes below. But Chris, it's been, it hasn't been too long since we last hung out here on the show. Anything new to report on your end?
No, it's a couple weeks. I'm back. I'm back finally in Toronto for 1 week, and then I will be heading to the World Series of Board Gaming for another week in Vegas to run their stuff.
The World Series of Board Gaming? What's that, Chris?
I work for the World Series of Board Gaming. It's an event that happens in Las Vegas every year. We're going into our 4th event. I'm their director of production, dealing with all the streaming and the commentary. And we are going to go down and run our 4th event. And you can't get tickets for it anymore because all the spots are signed up for. We close tickets in September. But you can check out some of the stuff that's happening on the live streams, or check out the WSPG's YouTube channel for more updates. And I believe Ruel should be there at some point in time, and you might see a familiar face of Ruel commentating on some games. Whenever I decide on a whim to throw Ruel in there.
Chris is going to just throw me to the wolves there, folks. Yeah, I will be there at some point. You know what? If you haven't seen the WSBG before, folks, definitely check out the coverage because Chris and the team there do a fantastic job of producing it. And I'm not just saying that because, Chris is, part of the show and everything. And because
I'm right here.
And you're right there. I've got to say nice things in front of your face. But no, seriously, it's a massive undertaking to do something like that live. You got all the competition, you've got everything you got to cover. I mean, it's, y'all know I'm a sports ball fan, go Dodgers. It's a production like that where it's a lot of moving parts. And Chris, again, kudos to you and the team for actually producing really high quality stuff and coverage.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Thanks, Ruel. I didn't mean to say, yes, I'm amazing. But I was looking at episode. John Tripp in the chat, and not having any tech issues. I snapped this photo of myself recently. It's my new favorite thing to show whenever I'm having tech issues. That's me trying to send a text message.
What?
That was from when we did the unrehearsed Romeo and Juliet. My Capulet was Daddy Capulet of like Emperor Palpatine style. That's Friar Lawrence's Gandalf.
Wow.
And then there's Tybalt, the King of Cats, which is a pretty good one. Yeah,
that is some pretty impressive makeup. Nice.
I just thought it was a relevant photo based around anyone who's having tech issues. Don't worry, we understand. We get it. We get it.
Exactly. By the way, Next to Moon says, nice to see some cons talked about as well as pros for board games. Makes for more well-rounded viewpoints. I agree.
That's what this list is all about.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm more of I'd like to keep the positive about things, but it's not everything is rosy, folks. So before we get into the list itself, we can talk a little bit about our process, Chris, right? How did we go about this? We've done this list before, folks. If you haven't seen it before, again, click the show notes below for our previous disappointments. But how did you approach this, Chris? Did you just look for games that you didn't like or games that you were looking forward to and just didn't look up for the hype?
I looked deep inside myself and I thought, wow, when have I experienced the most trauma when I should have been experiencing joy? And I really took a very long reflection, and I was just day after day after day. Honestly, I was like, oh no, that was probably a bad way to approach this, but now I'm in it, and I found some board games in there, just in the corners of it. And so then I was like, well, I guess I'll talk about these. No, for me, it's essentially like you mentioned. Some of these things I had high expectations for, and they didn't meet those expectations. Some I had incorrect expectations based around the publishing company themselves. And then some are just horrendously bad and shouldn't exist at all. And I would love to counsel the world and make sure that nobody ever touches these atrocities and abominations again. So some are definitely, and we'll clarify which is which as we go through, or maybe we won't. Maybe Maybe it's all of them. Maybe it's every game from here on out. Yeah. So show us on the doll where the board game hurt you. Yeah, that's what Next to Moon said. Yeah, tell me, would you like me to get my doll? I can. I'll be back. Just vamp, Ruel, because I'm going to go get the doll.
Wait, there's an actual doll. I love it.
Jade.
Yes. All right. So we're going to see Chris's doll. Hey, I see some dolls right there. I see a Darth Vader. I see a Princess Leia. As you know, those of us who grew up playing with these weren't dolls. They were action figures. But yeah, we're going to see Chris's doll real soon here, folks. And as we continue the show, be sure to let us know what games you've been disappointed by lately as well. Drop them in the comments. We'll hit those up. What doll is this, Chris? Oh my gosh.
This is Jade. Yeah, her name is Jade. Named after my soon-to-be Amazing Race partner. Me and my friend Jade are actually trying to get on the Amazing Race Canada. You can go follow us on Instagram. Chris and Jade chase the race. Yeah, Jade. What you had something to say?
AF.
Yeah, oh Jade wants. What's that, Jade? Oh, she's shy. Yeah, Jade, tell me. Yeah, okay. No, speaking of my good ear. Jade. Okay, yeah, Jade, what's that? Every game Rahdo likes, okay, we can't say that, Jade. Rahdo is wrong about whatever, anything he said. Well, we know that, Jade, but it was Rahdo who hurt me the most. Jade, please, the games, Jade. Yeah. Oh, okay. She forgot the question. She forgot the
Oh
question.
my
What was the
god.
question? Oh, Jade has been my co-host. Jade has been my co-host a little bit on Room and Board, and of course, I needed to pull her out. And
Oh my gosh.
and
Jade.
the board games had hurt Jade. In fact, when they promise something different, when they promise something and they don't deliver. And this is only 2024's board games. Who knows
Yeah.
what 2025 will have in store? But I
Yeah.
think it's always good to talk about things and expectations and having some clear stay away froms.
And your channel, you've always been really good about that on your channel, right? You've always balanced like, okay, here's the latest Kickstarter I'm excited about, but then here's some stuff you probably don't want to, put your money behind as well. By the way, that doll was absolutely creepy. That was like Chucky creepy.
Don't say that. Don't say that about Jade.
Well,
That's very.
Oh, Jade's still there. Oh
What?
my gosh. Sorry, Jade.
Jade, please, no, Jade, stop. Jade, it's okay. Ruel didn't mean it.
I did
Ruel
it.
didn't mean it.
I did it.
Ruel
Sorry,
didn't mean
Jade.
it.
By the way, we did see the Darth Vader and Leia dolls behind you, and I was saying, I was saying when I was a little kid they were called action figures, but those are dolls. Those are clearly dolls.
Those are actually 3D printed, not by me, but by a friend and patron George. Yeah, he 3D printed these.
Whoa.
So they're 3D printed and they're Lego versions.
No,
they're like little Lego things. Yeah, so he 3D printed these.
Mind blown.
Which are so cool. I don't think he 3D printed the cape, but he just made these.
Whoa.
And he made them for everybody. He came up and it was on May the 4th, and so he gave everybody like a Darth Vader.
That is
thing.
Perfect. Oh my god!
And then we played a game. We played a game of Las Vegas, the dice game, and we had like where you're just rolling dice and you're trying to bid on stuff. And the winner won a secret prize, which was like a 3D printed BB-8. It was sick. They were sick.
Whoa!
Yeah,
that is some pretty awesome 3D printing there. Oh my gosh! Those
as you can see, I did not win.
Yeah,
I did not.
Okay, well, why don't we get into the list, Chris? Again, we just talked about our little process here of how we go. I went about it as well, same type of thing, like things that didn't really hit with me for whatever reason, but we'll talk about that as we jump in here. Why don't we lead it off with number 12, which is going to be your pick, Chris?
Yeah, I'm happy to start off with number 12. And number 12 comes, again, from that sort of like really broken expectation, because it comes from Mind Clash games. When I think of Mind Clash games, I think of like Crunchy. I think of Crunchy Euro. I think of Anachrony. I think of Voidfall. I think of Tricarian. Septima, it still has a lot of moving parts to it and whatever, but I certainly don't think of Ironwood. And Ironwood was sort of the game that was coming out from Mind Clash that I played at last year, or at PAX Unplugged 2 years ago, actually, before it had come out. They had just announced it, they had launched it and whatever. And I think Ironwood is a sort of good concept as a game. It is only on this list by merit of disappointments because it comes from Mind Clash, and I expect a certain type of game from them, and this was not that type. And I think that is sort of relevant information in terms of this being a head-to-head two-player clash of resources. You have your miners who are trying to drill out the ironwood, and then you have the people in the woods who are kind of existing in the pockets of forest, who are trying to stop the drills, essentially. And you're kind of picking off each other. It feels a lot like a tug of war mechanism. It feels a bit like a two-player card-driven Root, but I think I would prefer Root more. I don't know. There are a lot of my memory of this is a little bit fuzzy, honestly. I did have to struggle a bit on this 2024 list because I was looking back. I was like, nah, like that. And so it was harder to find things that I could talk about. But I really remember being so excited. Like I'm always so stoked when a new Mind Clash game comes out. And I also had like done a preview of Voidfall at that PAX as well, and I was like, oh yeah, let me dive into everything Mind Clash. And then I got to this and I was like, oh okay, this is just such a deviation from the brand that it felt like there was a disconnect there. And I think that's interesting too, because I know one of the board game companies that I know of that is very specific about branding, and I think it is to a benefit, is Burnt Island and KTBG, right? Like they're run by the same people, but the KTBGs, they're more like family weight, kids style games, and then Burnt Island they're like more complex games.
Right.
And so I think like Awakened Realms tried to do that with like Awakened Realms Light, and then they kind of stopped doing that. But I because I think the light sort of devalued their brand, and I don't know if Mind Clash was going in a similar direction as well,
Mhm.
understanding that it doesn't like mesh with the current brand of like chonky euros that they've put out.
Right.
But yeah, it was fine. It was okay. It was a fine head to head battler game.
Yeah.
It just didn't blow me away. And when all other Mind Clash titles do blow me away, I think that then is relevant. So that's why I ended up putting Ironwood on the list. Not it is last on the list because I'm the least disappointed by it because I can see its merits, but it just to me wasn't what I was expecting again because I went in blind. So perhaps that's on me as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's and I came up like as we're putting together the list, I came across a bunch of those as well, Chris, is where I mean, I felt like 2024 is a pretty good year for games, so I didn't come across anything that I
Yeah.
was like really super disappointed by. I mean, there were some that just didn't meet my expectations, which I think is the case here with Ironwood.
Yeah.
Again, the pedigree of Mind Clash, and you get this, and it's like more like Light Clash, I guess, right? Not
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
heavy and yeah. But I was curious about Ironwood as well because I know Mind Clash's reputation. Tricarion, amazing experience. I have not played Voidfall yet, but I do want to see what they're, how they approach a lighter type game. And, you mentioned Awakened Realms, and actually
Yeah.
Chip Theory Games as well has done some super light games
Right.
recently, like Fight 5.
Yeah.
So I like seeing these heavier companies that are known for heavier games sort of delve into this, but with varying degrees of success. Like, do you think they should follow the kids' table board gaming where they do separate the brands like that, or?
I think it's tough too, right? Because you then have to establish a whole new brand, and people are like, okay, well, if you don't know that Kids Table Board Gaming and Burnt Island are run by the same people, like that's about the only connection. Like they both have good production quality, but like so do a lot of board games, right?
Mhm.
And so I think it is. I think it is also like a hard thing to just basically establish a new company is what you would really need to do
Yeah.
to make me happy, which I don't
True.
think is a sensible business decision. But I think like I don't know, Ironwood was it was interesting, but it's not one that I was like ever gravitated to return to. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that kind of finally came out in 2024, and I kind of was hit with a yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'd rather play any other Mind Clash game,
And
which
that's
are
fair.
which are great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. Cool. All right. Yeah. So that's number 12 on our list of 12 most disappointing games of 2024. Well, let's move on to our number 11. And I've got the call for this one.
Mhm.
This actually fits in right with what we were talking about right now, Chris. My pick for our combined list is number 11, Stamp Swap from Stonemeyer Games. And pretty much for the reasons that you're describing, Stonemeyer, again, they don't publish heavier games like Mind Clash, but they do have a certain standard, right? I think of a
Yeah.
Stonemeyer game, and I think of a certain game. And Stamp Swap, well, I thought it was a good game. It didn't resonate with me for whatever reasons. Just it wasn't the Stonemeyer. I mean, it was a fine game, but it just didn't really hit with me. It just sort of felt flat to me. I love the theme, and actually, we're watching Amy and Maggie's run through here on Rahdo's channel. I agreed with Amy and Maggie. Like, I was so excited about the theme. It's about collecting stamps, which is super nerdy, and it's got tile laying as a mechanism. I love laying down tiles like the polyominoes. You have multiple scoring objectives. You are collecting stamps, and you're going to like a stamp expo to show them off, but it has this I cut you choose mechanism, which I know Amy and Maggie aren't a fan of it. I'm sort of like on and off with it. I can run hot or cold with I cut you choose, but it felt off to me in this. So you have this I cut you choose where you have the stamps that come out, and then you're going to select which ones are going to go to everyone else, or well, actually you set them up in little groups, hoping that everyone takes the piles that you want them to take, while you end up with the one you like. Now, that's always a tough thing, and for first-time gamers, and again, this is something Amy and Maggie pointed out, which I totally thought of when I played the game. It's really tough to like quantify or value like what I should be putting in each little group, especially as a first-time gamer, first time to this game. Like, I don't know what's worth more or whatever, and eventually, it eventually turns into this thing where like you're gonna get a bunch of stamps for your board that you don't want, and then that just makes, for me, the fun part of the game is doing the puzzle of laying down all the tiles everywhere, and that part right there makes it like, well, I got a bunch of tiles I didn't really want, and now I'm gonna place them here and hopefully do the
Right.
scoring goals. But the scoring goals are cool. You can do different shapes, you can do different colors, sizes, or whatever. Then there's like the main objective. I think it's really that I cut you choose that didn't feel satisfying to me. And I also played it solo, and the solo bot works great. I still think Stonemeyer, for my taste, do like the best type of automa or solo bots out there because it's really low maintenance. But overall, while I like Stamp Swap, I didn't love it, and that's why I went with the huge expectations. And it's like, okay, it's fine, but it didn't really resonate with me for that. And I was like thinking about other I cut you choose games that I prefer. Now this is a fine game, but I think the mechanism is done a lot better in Hanamakoji, a 2-player card game, and also the Great Split, which is sort of, I feel like, really flew under the radar a couple of years ago. And that, to me, is a fantastic I split or I cut you choose game. So, yeah, Stamp Swap, Chris, it was good. It was fine, but it just didn't live up to what I expect from a Stonemeyer game.
I was looking up on my shelf because I know I have Charcuterie right here, which is a great I cut you choose game.
Yep.
And you're just making a little charcuterie board in terms of unique themes. Stamp Swap, literally, if I've heard about it, it immediately left my brain, and it's so shocking to me that this is a Stonemeyer game because usually I pay attention to everything they release.
Yeah,
this is literally the first time I'm ever hearing about it in my life.
Wow.
And I will swear on that, even though in my email there's probably an announcement that says Stamp Swap's coming out.
Yeah.
Nah, deleted it.
Yeah,
It's gone from my mind. Like it is sort of a testament to. You probably weren't the only person who was disappointed by it. I imagine Stonemeyer might be as well.
Yeah.
Based around nobody talking about it.
Yeah, and it's such a bummer because I really want to like and that's part of it too. Some of these, a lot of the games that I chose, I really wanted to like them more than I did, just because whether it's the theme I thought was cool, or maybe, hey, these mechanisms look neat. No, I really want to like this. As as a little kid, I mean, well, at least for me back in the day, I collected stamps for a hot minute, and this seemed like the perfect nerdy thing that, I feel like there's some parallels to nerdy stuff like collecting stamps and playing board games, right? We all collect board games, as you can see, but just such a bummer. But that's our number 11, Chris, Stamp Swap.
Yeah.
Why don't we find out what Richard thinks, and we're going to turn it over to him for number 10.
Hey guys, good to see you again as we sit down to talk about heartbreakers from last year. I've got a few. In fact, after we get down to this countdown and we get to the the post list, I'm going to do a full top 10 of games that did not work out very well for me and Jen in 2024. But for starters, we are going to hit the highlights. And Chris, Ironwood, I don't know anything about it, because it's a dueling wizard game. It was never one I was going to like, but sorry to hear it didn't work for you. Ruel, Stamp Swap. I'm kind of with you because, well, I don't know if it's the game itself, but I am not a big fan of I Split You Choose at all. And honestly, I think those tend to be better with more than two. Jen and I did try it. You'll notice I did not cover it on the channel because, again, I didn't like it. Amy and Maggie covered it, though, and they did like it. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what your problem with it was. But anyway, we've got those are number 12 and number 11. Number 10, before we get to that, I am here in Ireland in my new filming studio, and that camera's on a selfie stick. Let's go ahead and give you a quick tour of where I film these days. Let me switch to my other, more stable hand. There, hey, that's what I'm looking at while I'm filming, and here's the thing I just filmed yesterday, and there's stuff I've recently filmed, or that has to be filmed, or what have you. And right there are a couple of dog beds, because they sometimes like to sit in here and snooze while I'm filming and whatnot. And there's my big lights, and this is a very tiny room. It used to be a bathroom. This house, when we got it, had 3 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms, and that was ridiculous. So one of the first things we did was turn this bathroom into a 4th bedroom, so we have 4 beds, 4 baths. Instead, this house effectively used to be a hotel for all intents and purposes, or an Airbnb style hotel. But anyway, it is now my little filming room. I barely got any room, but it's just enough to get the job done. And I'm going to give some more tour stuff as we get to the later ones, but now I put it off long enough. Number 10 on our list is SETI, the search for extraterrestrial life. And that's going to be triggering some gasps, I think, because, this game was hugely popular. It made several best of the year lists. I think it was the Dice Tower best game of the year, and maybe the Board Game Geek, Golden Geek best game of the year too, but not for me and Jen. And I'll tell you why I was disappointed. Last year, new designer Thomas Hollick had 3 games come out. Tea Garden, Galileo Galilei and SETI. I had played the first two before Essen, and I thought they were both phenomenal. Tea Garden was my favorite. Galileo Galilei was Jen's, but they were both really great. So I didn't get a chance to play SETI until after Essen, near the end of the year. But it's months. I thought those other two games were so great. SETI from CGA is going to be the best of the bunch. And so I waited and waited and waited. Down in Mexico, I was finally able to get a chance to play it, and boom. I don't think the game works that well for two. I don't think it was anywhere near as good for a two-player game as his other two designs. And so I was crushed. Crushed, I tell you. I got rid of the game. Now, as I understand it, he is putting together, there is an expansion for it coming out this year that I think will fix my problems and make it a much better two-player experience. But with the game out of the box, it just wasn't there, and it broke my heart. I mean, I could see as a higher player count game, it would work great. But as a two-player, SETI, The Search for Extraterrestrial Life, was very disappointing for me, and that's our number 10 on the list. Okay, back to you guys.
Wow, SETI. I just got my copy in recently. I'm looking forward to it, but
Burn it, I guess.
yeah, I'm interested to see if it really is. Well, if it's disappointing to me as well.
Richard is wrong.
Oh my God.
Richard is wrong. Oh, Jade, please, Jade, please. Oh,
I'm gonna have.
I'm sorry. I've actually never played SETI either, but I've just heard really good things, and apparently Jade is very passionate about it. I hope Richard gets the other three right, and that Jade doesn't come back.
Jade is gonna give me nightmares tonight. Thanks, Chris.
Sean in the chat says I also like SETI a lot at two, and honestly, I value Sean's opinion a lot. So I think Jade and Sean are correct. It's 2 versus 1. 2 versus 1. Sorry, Richard.
There it is.
And it's number 35 on Board Game Geek right now.
Wow.
Like, I haven't seen a new game shoot up that many charts since Arc Nova. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, it just keeps climbing.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I love Tea Garden, so I'm wondering, how it compares to Tea Garden, because I thought Tea Garden was phenomenal. I just played that for the first time a couple of months ago. So, SETI, folks, Richard was disappointed by that. Let's continue with the list. Chris, what were you next disappointed by?
I kind of forget what I put on my list, but I think I have it right. I think it's Cthulhu Death May Die.
It is. Wow, nice
Fear of the Unknown. Phew, perfect. I knew it was either that or that's the next one, but I think I thought it was.
Nice
I have it sitting above my head right now. I haven't gotten rid of it. And I intend to play more of it, but I was just expecting a heck of a lot more. Like, I love Eric Lang. I love command games. And this one still is a command game, I feel. I know some are being sold off to different other properties, but I think command still has this one. I expected. I really enjoy Zombicide. I really enjoy the others, and I just expected to really enjoy this one, and I found that I wasn't prepared for the flow of the game. I don't like. I've only played the first scenario or the first two, I forget, of this, but the initial scenarios, but it only comes with 6 scenarios. It only comes with 6 chapters. So I don't think there's any excuse of it being like, well, it's the first scenario, wasn't as good. I don't care. If you only have 6 chapters, all of them better be bangers, right? Like, every scenario better be friggin' fun and better be replayable. And I just found it really boring. I found that the threats weren't there as much as I wanted them to be. Like, in Zombicide, everything's kind of creeping, and you feel that pressure. And then in I expected to feel a similar sensation with Cthulhu Death May Die, and it isn't, and because it's a different game, right? And so again, that's the idea of expectation versus what are you actually getting. But I found that, like, the threat wasn't there as much. It was more about searching and drawing from trying to uncover these different clues and hit these different objectives and playing the scenario kind of the way the scenario wants to be played. And then also with the activations of certain people, I'd be like, oh, I expect them to move and attack me. And they're like, they didn't move. I'm like, okay, well, they're going to move on the next one, right? No, they didn't move. Okay, well, they're going to move on the next one, right? Nah, they didn't move. And like, that could just be the card draw. But I don't know, when there are tendencies, when there are abilities for that to happen, I just kind of was was less excited about the things affecting me. I didn't find that the AI worked in as fun a way as I was hoping for it to feel that sensation of danger and whatever. And that the main danger comes from you just going insane on your own and then taking handicaps because of you hitting these different insanity thresholds. So yeah, it's still like, it's one of those things where like it's still on my shelf because I have to play it and I want to give it another shot. Like, I purchased this game, I backed the Kickstarter, I was really excited. Or this one was on GameFound. I convinced myself to not get season 3 and 4. I was like, no, just get season 3. Like, just try it out, see if you like it. And I'm very glad that I followed my own advice on that. Would way rather play Massive Darkness or Zombicide or the others. And so it's in a tough space for me because I want to play it again, but I don't really want to play it again. That's why it's still sitting on the shelf, because I'm like, it kind of sucked. Maybe it gets better, but I don't really. I would, if I'm spending time doing something, if that isn't just supposed to be for fun, well, it's hard now to get off the shelf. I still want to give it another try, but I'll have to do it when I'm in a productive space of I'm working my way through my shelf, or trying to give second chance games a try so then I can get rid of them and make more space and all that sort of stuff. Let's see what the chat is saying. Hextra says, Death May Die tugs at my sunk cost fallacy bone. I wish I liked it more. That's exactly where I'm at, Hextra. That's okay. Yeah. Next to the Moon says, come on, has that FOMO that makes you buy the extra boxes full of more content that complete the games? I don't think so with Death May Die. Like, I agree with the FOMO machine, but I don't think that a season 4 would complete the game, because it's just more scenarios, right? If the scenarios are middling at best, they're going to be middling in season 4 and they're going to be middling in season 3. And maybe it'll just take a little bit more for me to unlock and see what happens and see different. I only played one Elder God, maybe the other Elder God. Maybe there'll be an aha moment, and I'm hoping for there to be an aha moment. Maybe we missed a minor thing in the rules, maybe we didn't add in this card, or when I add in the randomized unknown monsters, maybe that will be the thing that unlocks it for me. There's some stuff in the box that I haven't yet engaged with that I'm leaving hope for. But
I'm really curious about this, because I have a box of the base game that's been sitting on my shelf for a little while, and I haven't gotten to it. But I'm like you, Chris. I'm a huge Eric Lang fan, but I have heard some mixed things about the ongoing Cthulhu Death May Die series here. So I mean, I guess you can only go back to the well so many times before it's like, okay, it's sort of stale now. Maybe I don't know. But
yeah, I think Sean says some good things too. The real pressure of the game is from the ticking clock of foiling the Elder One, not the monsters coming for you, right? And I think I definitely agree with that. And that now knowing that mentality, it might be the mentality shift that I need to enjoy the game as well, which is what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
That was the mentality shift I needed to enjoy Dune Imperium, was knowing that the intrigue cards are wildly variable in efficacy depending on when you get them. And knowing that, and I was like, great. Love that. Now I know what those are. Yeah. Boom. I love the game. It's in my top 10. You know what I mean? But
I'm so glad you brought that up. Like, friends, as you watch this, we may be disappointed by these games, but we're also open to other opinions, and maybe we have seen it in a different, way, and maybe we are wrong. And so let us know, again, either in the comments or here live in chat. Let us know your experiences, and we may, give these games another shot, like Chris is going to do with Cthulhu Death May Die.
Yeah.
Fear of the Unknown.
And I'd also like to say that my openness stops now.
That's it.
My next two, I'm not open to.
I love it. What about Jade? What does Jade think?
Well, I hate everything. I hate everything you love. I hate everything you love and never will love. Jade, Jade, please.
I just got to say this. I am sure that many moons ago, when Rahdo decided to start his channel, he knew that there was going to be a doll eventually stalking his channel.
Did he know? Or is this the last time you see Chris George on our show? Who can tell? Who can tell? The biggest disappointment is Jade recurring in this, but at least it's not the Whisperer, who's this stupid little character that I have on my channel as well.
I love it. Bring them all over here to the channel. That's
Yeah,
what I say.
sorry for everybody's ears. Jade knocked over my mic, so sorry everybody. I'll ask Jade to be more respectful.
Okay, well,
but
Chris,
who knows what she'll do.
While Chris is talking to Jade, why don't we move on to our number 8 on the collective list of most disappointing games of 2024? This is mine. My number 8 is a game called Umbrella. I was really looking forward to this one because of the designer. The designer is someone named Benoit Turpin, and you made that game name from the game Welcome to. It is a modern day roll and write classic, or flip and write classic, and he was the brains behind Umbrella, which is again a fine game. This is a game about umbrellas that you see on basically on a New York sidewalk. You are viewing them from above, and honestly, this is the thing that disappointed me, honestly, was like the theme really doesn't come through this game. This is an abstract game in its heart, folks. You have these discs, they're all the different colors. You're going to take them, and as you can see here in the video, you're just placing them on your player board, the ones on the left and right there, and you're trying to line them up to make patterns, to match the patterns, and you're going to score those patterns as you match them up. What you do is you're going to take either from your left or right in a 2-player game, one of those discs or umbrellas from your opponent, and either slide it to the left or right, or you can take one vertically, so you can go up or down, and as you slide them in, you're going to push one out, and that's going to go on the other player board, so they have different choices. And then as you complete patterns, you're trying to be the first to do them, to get the most points. You're going to take those off of your board and then place them on another player's board. There are different colors that you can match up as well. One thing I did like about the game, I don't, again, I try not to be too negative. I do appreciate the colorblind accessibility in this game. The different colors, they do have different patterns, so it's easy to tell. But overall, Chris, it was a fine, like, little abstract puzzle, I guess. And I actually preferred it as a solo game where I can just, do it real quick. And I played it a few times, and it's one of those games that it was fine, but it just did not, I don't want to play it anymore. I just don't have any reason to, which is the complete opposite of Welcome to. Like, when I first played Welcome to, I could not stop playing that game. Literally, I was playing it, like, every day, multiple times a day. Umbrella just did not hit with me or my gaming group, and that's why it's our number 8 on the list of most disappointing games of 2024.
Yeah. That, I hadn't heard of it. Again, it's one that sort of was flown under the radar. It can't stand under your umbrella, Ella. Hey.
I'm so glad you made that reference.
Umbrella. I guess we'll go to Richard now.
Yeah, let's go to Richard. But I gotta say, the same reference. If you're not tired of Chris's reference, go check out my solo playthrough of Umbrella for the exact same joke. Okay. Speaking of Richard, what do you have for us at number 7?
Okay, continuing on. Chris, Cthulhu, Death May Die, Fear of the Unknown. I don't know. Definitely not a game for me. Interesting you put an expansion on here. I had one expansion, which I'll talk about in my extended list, that literally made one of my favorite games actually worse. Is that what happens with Fear of the Unknown? I don't know. Well, it can't all be winners. And then Ruel, what was number 8? Umbrella. I have not played this. I don't know much about it other than it was co-designed by Benoit Turpin. And that's the Welcome To guy. So I would have definitely wanted to check this out because Welcome To is phenomenal. One of the best roll and writes out there. Especially Welcome to the space one. Is it Welcome to the Moon? Yeah. But anyway, I look forward to hearing what you have to say, how Benoit broke your heart with Umbrella. But anyway, now we got to move on to number 7. But before we do that, let's continue with the surroundings. I am in the sunroom of this house that we have here in Ireland. It is amazing what we were able to get. When we left America, we sold an old, dilapidated, broken down, manufactured home. And the money we made off of that paid for this mansion, or Irish-sized mansion, including this amazing sunroom, which is where Jen and I spend all of our time. These are our views. Here is Jen, just stopping to say hi, honey pie.
Actually, I'm saying it was not a dilapidated manufactured home and everything. It was nice.
It was a nice manufactured home, but nice. It was well worn, let's say.
Let's say it was. But we also pumped or some insane amount of money into it when we sold it because we didn't do any maintenance while we were there.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
For 7 years. And
Yeah. We had, oh my
we had to
God,
replace
so
the
much
whole
stuff that had to be
deck and
done.
everything. Oh, God. Anyway. But no, we lived in a nice place.
Yes.
Okay.
We live in a much nicer place now.
That's true.
Anyway, continuing on the tour as Jen goes back to getting ready for our trip in. And this, that is an 82-inch Samsung, which is crazy. It just barely fits on the wall. I actually got that in a trade-in because I had a 60-inch TV and it died. I took it to a repair shop and they said, yeah, I can repair it for you. You want to trade in though and upgrade? And I did. So this only costs strictly speaking, a couple $100 this TV off the trade-in value. Although it's so heavy, we had to get some little posts to sit there. This is Jen's favorite place to sit and look out at the landscape, although she also loves sitting in that rocking chair and she loves sitting in that reclining chair. And this is the couch that I'm normally on. As you can see, Daisy likes it too. She is keeping an eye on the surroundings. But anyway, the tour will continue, but I put it off long enough. Number 7 on our combined list is Wyrmspan. And again, I'm sure there are collective gasps. This made a lot of people's top 10 for last year as well, but not mine. This one broke my heart, and I'll tell you why. Wyrmspan is one of the greatest modern designs of all time. It's absolutely fantastic. Taking that design and turning it into a dragon game, oh my gosh, I was so up for that because I like birds, but I love dragons, and all you had to do was just give me dragons and not mess up the gameplay. They messed up the gameplay of Wyrmspan. They made Wyrmspan worse by introducing all these extra complicated elements to what was a very brilliant, elegant, triple engine builder. Now, Wyrmspan is a triple engine builder where you're taking care of dragons instead of birds, but all the fun stuff of Wyrmspan, building the engine, running your engines, trying to synchronize your engines, you still get to do them all, but now there's all these extra steps in the way that prevent you from doing it as much as you used to get to do it. It was like a huge downer. A lot of people think it's the best, but for me, it just added complexity for no good reason and made one of the greatest games of all time just it's a good Euro now. And then plus they totally blew it on the flavor text. Don't get me started on that. But anyway, all that combined is why Wyrmspan comes in at number 7. Ouch.
Ouch. Wyrmspan. Collective gasp, everyone. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't see that
Seriously.
one coming. And
no, yeah.
Wow.
Have you played Wyrmspan?
I have not. And actually, because I know at least 3 people in my gaming circles that they all pretty much said what Richard said. They're like, it wasn't as good as they thought that was going to be. Yeah.
See, I've just heard good things. My buddy Zach played it. I haven't played it, but he liked the additional action economy, and I think people who think that that Wyrmspan has an egg problem thinks that Wyrmspan fixes the egg problem. I love Wyrmspan. Richard's wrong. Oh my God, Jade, where? I don't know where she's coming from. I just last saw her over there, and then it's weird. I don't know. Hextra saying Wyrmspan was fun until I suffered through someone's 20-minute turn thanks to the extra coin mechanic.
Yeah.
And to that Hextra, I just have to say, maybe you should get good and get that extra coin for yourself. I don't know. I've never played Wyrmspan. I'm excited to try it. My buddy Zach liked it, so
I am curious about it. Now, actually, so I've actually really enjoyed Finspan, which is the slimmed down version of Wingspan, and I thought that was excellent. Again, it's not as heavy as Wingspan, or I definitely not as much as Wyrmspan, but I felt like they just streamlined down the experience to what it was really a terrific game. So maybe that's the one to check out, folks, if you want something streamlined. And I thought it was a fantastic game, Finspan. But we're talking about disappointments now, and on the R&R and J show today. Why don't we go back to Chris before he scares me with Jade again?
Hey, it's not me. It's not me. My hands are up here, okay? My hands are up. Wouldn't it be great if Jade popped in the frame when I did that? That's what I'll work on for Richard's next one. We're on to me. Our number 6 is the dumbest title ever. Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. Get out of here. I was the trick-taking game. It doesn't say Lord of the Rings. I think it's just Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah.
Trick-taking game. Isn't not the trick-taking game. No, it's just
Nope.
ridiculous. Somebody said, "Oh, you know what was good? The Crew. Let's put a Lord of the Rings IP on it and make it worse." And if that was your goal, then yes, you did it. Here's the thing. I actually don't think this is that bad of a game. I think it's fine. But like when you have the Crew as your baseline and the Crew, which is sort of enjoyed by so many people, and same with Crew Deep Sea, and then you come out with like, okay, we're going to do a trick-taking game as the Fellowship of the Ring, and you only have 21 scenarios in this because there's 21 chapters that you go on where you're adding in new characters, which are basically just new goals, right? Like if you're Frodo, you always have to win the trick of the One Ring. If you're Sam, you'll pick a card and you have to win that type of card, or you can't win that type of card, right? Like Mary can only win one trick. So they all just have different things. And then like 10 of those 21 scenarios are boring and basic. Like, what are you doing? Really? Like, how are you not crafting more interesting scenarios? And you aren't even giving us the same size amount of scenarios as what the game, like it was what the Crew does. I'm getting distracted by John Tripp, who's saying LOTR, FOTR, TTG for short, but it's not Lord of the Rings. It's in fact, it is specifically not Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. It is just Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. So if you're searching for it on BGG, which I'm like Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings trick-taking, and because BGG is still an archaic, bad system that they don't even have an auto-correct, or they don't have like anything to implement. Did you mean this? If you make one like typo of a mistake, well, this is more than just a typo. You're never going to find it. You're never finding it, and you're also never finding it buried under the amount of Lord of the Rings IP games there are. I love Lord of the Rings. It's great, but there can only be so many IP games, and I want this to rise above the IP mess. You get those games like Battlestar Galactica that are an IP, but are more than an IP, and like that's what we should be striving for, not just cashing in on an IP. And so while this is a good game and the production quality is very good, I had a fun time with it. We played our little card game. Box says Lord of the Rings, BGG does not. Yeah, also, okay. Come on. Thank you, John Tripp. Like I had a fine time with it. It is a fine game. It is okay. It is worthwhile playing through, sure, and passing on to someone else, maybe. But like the resetting aspect, the Crew does it better. Everything I could say was like, oh, the Crew does it better. There was one interesting scenario where you were playing against the big Ent, and a new set of cards got introduced, and then like Treebeard would flip up a card, and that would be a random card that Treebeard would add in, and so you're trying to like balance of, okay, do we want Treebeard to win these or somebody else? That was fine. But it just wasn't. It's just, you know what it was? It was disappointing.
Wow.
Beautiful quality, but just ultimately disappointing.
Wow, okay. I'm sure this is going to generate a bunch of comments because, okay, so I haven't played through the entire Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. But I really enjoyed my experience with it. For the first couple of chapters, I thought it was super thematic. I was very impressed by how they took the characters and made them feel like, I felt like playing characters in a trick-taking game, which I guess I didn't really get that feeling in the Crew. Chris, remind me, were there characters in the Crew that you played as?
No, you just divvy out your goals, essentially, right?
Right.
But if you wanted to put up a person's picture on every one of those goals and say this is Harry High Card who wants the high card, you could. Like, would that have elevated your Crew experience? Because like to me, that's what
Harry
Lord
High
of the
Card,
Rings did.
that name alone.
With Harry High Card, yeah. Pinky Power 9, Pinky Power Pose. You know what I mean? Oh, he wants the 9 of pink. Ooh, boing. Like,
wow. So I went further in the Crew when I played the Crew. I didn't play Mission Deep Sea, but I did go through the original Crew up until a certain point, and then with Lord of the Ring or Fellowship of the Rings, I only went through maybe like about 3 or 4 chapters. I really enjoyed what I played, but you obviously played more than I have. So just was it
But let's be real, Ruel.
Yeah.
You did 3 to 4 chapters. They were all the same, and then you put it down. And when was that?
Last year sometime. Yeah.
Yeah. Has it been pulling it? And it's a very easy game to get to the table.
Yeah.
Has it been pulling at your heartstrings?
Well, good point,
No,
Chris. Well,
it hasn't.
said. Yeah. But
It is not.
yeah. Well, okay. Well, as far as like the IP is concerned, I feel like it captured the flavor of the IP. Now, I'm not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I'm not a Lord. I'm not a Lord of the Rings guy. But I felt like the theme really came through in the gameplay for what it was. I mean, fair point. Or
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, there was the one ring.
Yeah. Right.
So
yeah.
and rings were Trump.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay.
And Frodo needed to get the ring.
Right. Yeah. He needs to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there were the riders. There were the Nazgul who were like, "Stay away from twos. Two's gonna get you." So like, I guess there was that.
Oh my god. Well, I'm curious to hear what you all think. Let us know in the comments what you think of Chris's take, because I had a good time with it. But I think I'm going to go back to my copy of The Crew, and I want to put down Harry High number on one.
Harry High card. Yeah.
Harry High card. Yeah.
Harry High card.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Let's move on to our number 5, and this is going to be my choice. Now, I gotta just be totally honest here. As we put together this list, this game came up, and I started writing, and I was like, yeah, this is really disappointing. But the more I thought about it, Chris, I'm like, I think I like this game a lot more than I gave it credit for originally. So that's our number 5. It's a game called Tower Up. I had heard about this game, I think at either Gen Con or one of the conventions last year or the year before, and it really did get hyped up, and I was really looking forward to it. It is a city builder. You're actually literally have these little plastic pieces of buildings that you're going to stack on each other 3D style, and it's got a ticket to ride sort of element where you're going to do one of two things. You're either picking up cards for resources, or you're going to actually build the buildings on the board. It does has a really great table presence, especially at the end of the game. You have this downtown part of the city that's been renovated with all your buildings, and I don't know. It fell flat for me. I should say I've played this at 2 players, so maybe I'll like it better with more players. And I think part of it too was right before I played this, I played a game called Skyrise, which I thought was a phenomenal building type of game where you are using auctioning, an auction mechanism to build your buildings on a city board. Whereas like this, and this is Kimberly Tolson of Tabletop Tolson playing through it. Again, I'm looking at this, and I feel like I was disappointed that I didn't like it as much as other folks. But the more I thought about it, and the more I'm watching this video, I'm like, oh, I sort of want to play this again, because it has that ticket to ride element that I really love, where the turns themselves are really simple: either get more resources or build something. But then as you go, there are limitations to where you can build. Like you have to have an open space adjacent to another building, and those like really, like especially in a 2-player game, it got tight really quick. And eventually you're going to have to, put a little roof on your building to end it there. So that's going to stop right there. And as you can see in Kimberly's run through, you have the player board. So the different pieces that you place on the board, they go up in level. So each track. And then when you get all 4 tracks lined up, like when they all pass like a certain point, then you get an extra turn. So that was really cool. And maybe that's part of my frustration too, because I played with someone who was really good at this game. Darn you, Jake Michaels at Good Time Society. He like rocked it. Like he just had his timing down where it seemed like he got extra turns when they were like really beneficial, and I couldn't get that, So what I'm trying to say is I suck at this game, but I want to give it another shot because I feel like I like it. But I was disappointed maybe in my play, but also it just didn't live up to the hype. But again, this is the type of thing, folks, where I'm willing to admit I need to try this one again, Chris. It's got a great table presence, and I want to give it another shot.
Well, it seems like it also can suffer from that thing that like Hextra was saying with Wyrmspan of like, oh, when somebody else gets all those like extra turns and then you don't, and you're just sitting there watching, like that also doesn't necessarily lend itself to a great game experience as well too. If it has the potential for someone to just be like, okay, blah, 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 blah. At least with Everdell at the end, you can go off and get a snack because you're done. If somebody's still got like a few more turns to play through. But like if it's mid game, you're like, okay, well, I got to pay attention to whatever this friggin' guy's doing.
Yeah,
so,
it's like I have no snacks. I got to watch his extra turn. This is the worst of both worlds, Yeah. But Yeah, so I'm definitely going to give it another shot. I think because I'd played it so like close to Skyrise, which I love Skyrise because it has this bidding mechanisms that's really
Yeah.
clever, where you use your buildings to bid on certain spots, and if you win the building, you can build there, but if you lose, then you get your building back. This didn't have that. It was a little more, I don't know. Well, it's definitely more family friendly, but I don't know if I'd call it a family friendly or a family game because it's definitely heavier than Ticket to Ride. But still, I was disappointed in my play and the expectations of this game, but willing to give it another shot, friends. So that is our number 5, Tower Up, and let's go back to Richard for our number 4. Richard, take it away.
Okay, continuing on, Chris. I'm surprised we agree. Fellowship of the Ring Trick Taker, it was fine. It was good. It was a very well done thing, but I went in hoping this was going to be my Tolkien replacement for the Crew, or the Crew in Middle-earth, and it is nowhere near as good as the Crew as a cooperative trick taker. And not that there aren't a lot of really good elements, and it's really nicely thematic, and the production is great, and I like the art. There's a lot to recommend here, but the Crew is so much better because of one little trick in the trick taking, that token you can use once per round to give a little bit of extra information to your teammates. That one element so elevates the Crew, and sadly, Fellowship of the Ring Trick Taker did not have anything even remotely like it. Kimberly liked it, but a lot of people love it, but not for me, unfortunately. I'll take the Crew, or Crew Mission Deep Sea especially, over that one, and so I was a bit disappointed. And Ruel, what the heck? Again, Tower Up from the design team of Botanic and Angkor and Jaipur. What are you talking about? I'm very surprised. I didn't get a chance to play this one. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say, sir. But anyway, before we get to number 4, let's continue with the tour. There's our caravan. We're going to be a week from today. We're getting in it and going on a 3-month road trip, heading over to Essen-Spiel, and then hanging all over the place in Europe. Very much looking forward to that. And, actually Jen is in the process of loading it up right now because she always likes to load ahead of time. But that's not the view you want. You want this view. Yeah, you saw it from the sunroom. Here it is in person. It is absolutely amazing. When November 7th happened, and I heard the news, I got online, started looking at Irish real estate. Within a day, found this thing, and Jen and I knew we had to move. And we are so happy here. It is so amazing every day. And again, I apologize, by the way, for the bleeping on the previous entry. Jen said after, I don't necessarily want to tell people how much we had to spend to renovate the manufactured home. It was a lot. It was a nice little home. Fortunately, though, even with all that renovation we had to do to sell it, still, the profit we made off that manufactured home paid for this thing, paid for all of this. It is amazing what you can get in Ireland if you're not trying to live in a big city. Yes, there is definitely a housing shortage crisis in Ireland, in all the big cities. But if you go out into the country, this is what you can get for a relatively modest priced American home. And I highly recommend it. But anyway, enough of that. It's time for number 4. Again, I don't like talking about this, folks, but Uwe Rosenberg broke my heart in 2024 with Black Forest. And now, this is basically a remake sequel to one of his all-time greatest designs, Glass Road. Still one of Jen's and my favorites, and I was looking forward to the tile building and all of that, but put into a new system that was really, really cool. This board traversal thing to get the tiles to build up rather than the really neat mind games of the original Glass Road. So I was very excited, especially because, as I understand it, Glass Road's original design was actually Black Forest, but the publisher thought, this is too heavy, it's too complex, let's do Glass Road, a simplified version of it instead. So I'm like, already the Glass Road big box edition, the big brother, the big sibling. But, and it is great. It is great. I can see why so many people love it. but it broke my heart because to make it a two-player game, Herr Rosenberg made it an incredibly cutthroat thing where there's basically like an extra worker moving around on the board that you have to control in addition to your own, and the only reason you make decisions for it is to move to places to block your opponent and screw with them. The game would be amazing at a higher player count, and there were so many ways that this game could have been done to tighten up the board for two-player without having to make players constantly, every turn, think about how they can screw each other over. It was just, such a, what do you call it in sports? It's a self-enforced error or something like that. I mean, they so missed it. I think in my original run-through, in my final thoughts, I talked about they could have done it this way or this way or this way or this way. They could have made it a positive thing instead of a negative thing. But instead, it is one of, as a two-player game, one of the most cutthroat games that Uwe Rosenberg has ever designed. And that is why it broke my heart. Number 4, Black Forest.
Wow. Herr Rosenberg lets down Richard. I really enjoyed Glass Road, so that's a bummer to hear about Black Forest. I have not played Black Forest, but yeah, I had heard about it. I heard good things about it, but apparently Richard didn't care for it. So
yeah. I haven't heard. Get out of here! Oh my god! You saw my hands. Don't you insult me, Rosenberg! Don't you do it! Don't you do it, Richard! Oh god, good Jade!
Nightmares.
Jade, where did she come from? You saw my hands were up here. You saw my hands were there. Oh my god! That's for Blackboard Gaming, who said, "Hey, Roy, Chris, it's very rare they catch the show live. I'm loving Jade.
Yeah,
that's for you, Dwayne."
Shout out to Stacey Everdell mentions, "I'm so happy for Richard living such a wonderful life." Yeah, Richard, folks, those clips right there, I'm like so envious of that view, and glad to see him and Jen are doing well, and really a nice little treat for the R&R show to see behind the scenes what's going on with Richard there. And also, I'm gonna have nightmares, folks, about Jade tonight.
Well, Tyler's dad said Jade scared my dog. Sorry,
Tyler. Sorry,
Dirk. Stacy also says I played Black Forest 2-player. I didn't feel it was cutthroat. I moved the merchant to benefit me, not to hurt other players. Not sure why Richard played it differently. Felt very helpful. Well, just Richard's just going for that cutthroat.
Yeah,
you can't allow him to be cutthroat because he's just too tempting.
Just can't help.
It's too tempting.
Yeah,
can't help himself. That's what we've learned here. So
that's it exactly. Yeah. Now that you just talk about this game, now I want to play Glass Road. It's been way too long since I played Glass Road. I always love that resource wheel or whatever. So. Yeah, cool. Why don't we move on? Chris, you've got our next game on the list. All right. What is going on?
Unfortunately, I do. This game, I'm very glad it came out in 2024 because I was having trouble with this list. And then I saw that this came out in 2024 and I thought, oh, great. The worst game in the entirety of the world came out in 2024.
What?
I can definitely add that to the list.
Wow.
And so I've gone off on this game in two videos on my channel.
Okay.
One when I first played it, and then one when I was talking about like games that I hated. My patrons made me do a games that I hate deathmatch and pitted the games that I hate against each other. This is. It's don't worry, Hextra. It's not that. It is the bad karmas and the curse of the Zodiac. That's what it is.
Wow.
Because I have to have played it, so I can't include a certain expansion that may have come out in 2024 because I haven't yet played that. So the bad karmas, curse of the Zodiac, comes from the Teburu system, which is bad. And it shouldn't exist. And they were like, this is the next gen thing for board gaming. No, you know what the next generation thing for board gaming is? Just what it's been doing, or anything else, probably. Just literally anything other than the Teburu system. It is atrocious. So the Teburu system is like, whoa, we got this magic map that you can just put things on. It's going to sense what those things are because it's electronic. And you can even play with people from afar because like they'll be able to see it and the game knows when you're moving things around. The game doesn't know. It doesn't work like that. The game actually makes you play a game for it. Is what happens. You have a big boss monster, and it's like, yeah, now the boss monster turns, and it goes, ooh, it's turning on the app, and then it's like, have you turned it? Have you turned your monster? Have you turned the monster on the thing? We're supposed to know if you have. That's literally the purpose of this system. But have you done it? Okay, press OK. Okay, great. And then it shatters you across the room. Yeah, okay, everybody put where all your people got pushed to on the room. Put that down. Nope. No, you didn't put it in the right spot. You didn't put it in the right spot. Did you do it? Did you do it? No. Did you hit okay? No, you didn't do it. You didn't do it. You didn't put it in the right spot. Put it in the right spot. And so you're playing this boss battler, which the game is constantly interrupting to be like, look at this innovative system, and you can roll the dice, and the dice knows that you're rolling it, and you throw it on the table. It's like, you got this result, but they're the easiest dices to just shake and then place down, and the game's like, you did it, and you're like, no, and it feels better to cheat this way because I'm tricking this stupid system. But all of that aside, the gameplay also sucks. It's like, oh, this amazing boss battle, you can have 24 characters. They're all going to do cool different things. The characters are like, you have this app in front of you, and you're just pushing these cards willy-nilly on this app, these cards, which will tell you, do an axe slash, do an axe throw, do an axe hit. What stance are you going to be? Does the game ever explain? Who cares about stances? Not really. It's just like, you know when you go to BGA and you're like, I'm going to try to learn a game through BGA and just punch at it like a monkey at a typewriter and then pretend I learned the game. That's what Bad Karma's full experience is. Even doing the tutorial is like this. It's like, just hit things. Whoa, you know the game now. It's like, no, you don't. It's like, I did damage to the monster. How much? We're not telling. Which I actually like. I like that in theory, but then it's just annoying. It's like, oh, you're dead. How do I revive myself? We're not going to tell you.
Wow.
It's like, oh, okay, now there are all these little cardboard things that you can put out, little gems that you can put on the board, which we can't actually sense. Oh no, we didn't think about that. Did you put it on the board? Great, now those explode for no reason and you take damage. Did we tell you they were going to explode? No. Is any of this satisfying? No. It's like you can upgrade your cards if you hit people enough with them, but the cards do all the same thing. It's like, 6 melee damage or 7 melee damage with a chance to bleed yourself, or 8 melee damage with a chance to do, like, it's not, these aren't innovative things. They're not fun actions to go through. It's just absolutely horrible. It's so horrible. Cosmic Beef said, oh boy, a Tebaru rant. You're friggin' right, there is one. Everyone should stay away. Oh yeah, I was talking about it in my latest crowdfunding countdown too. I'm so passionate that no one should get this system, and it should die a horrible, horrible death. And I'm sorry to those of you who have had fun with the Tebaru system, because you must also have fun. Here, I've got a game for you. Why don't you come over to my house and I'll tell you where I want you to put all the pieces. You don't get to play the game. I'm going to play the game, but you're going to move it for me. Does that sound fun? Because then you can come on over and do that, because that's essentially what Tebaru is doing. And also, I'm not going to explain to you the rules of the game, and I'm not going to give you any dopamine hits whatsoever. I'm just gonna have random things happen to you. And you know, in like a boss battler, where you can start to learn the boss's behavior, because you're like, oh, okay, I start out not knowing anything about it, but I learn its behavior. I dodge under here. No, you're not gonna learn that. You're not gonna learn anything. You're gonna learn that the boss is turned this way and its base is flashing red. And I'm like, okay, I'll try to get to the side where it's red so I can do a critical hit. And then like, just kidding, random event happened again. You get thrown across the cavern. I'm like, I spent my whole turn walking across here. Aren't you gonna let me do a critical hit and feel good? Nope. The boss is now in the light for some reason, and whoa, that's the way to kill it. Oh, how did that happen? Because he just ran in there for no reason. Because I pushed him one space. Whoopity friggin' do. Can I plan around doing that ever again? No. It's just like, the game is boring. Yeah, even if the system worked, the game is boring. 100%, Sean. That's it.
Wow.
Stacey says, so good game must buy. Yes. Yeah, that's what you should love, Tebaru. Yeah. No, this is just horrible. It's horrible. It's just bad. Stay far away. It is so disappointing. And my expectations weren't high for this, to be clear. Like, disappointment means your expectations are high. Yep. My expectations were, I guess this will be fine. It's probably too expensive for what it is, but I expect there to be a game. No. Wow. My expectations were here, and the game is in the subterranean second level of Earth. That's how horrid it is. It's just bad.
Wow.
So, ultimately, I don't like it that much. Yeah.
It's funny because I'm looking at the trailer. The trailer actually looks really cool for this game, but
because it's just it's like, oh, we're gonna do all this cinematic stuff. No, you're not. You're gonna look at cinematic things, and then you're gonna be like, can I do anything fun? No. That's why trailers that don't ever show you gameplay, you're like, who cares? Get out of here.
Just the little snippet of the components there, I was like, oh, this looks interesting with the little light up figure and things, but I had never heard of this game, Chris, and
Yeah.
just based on your explanation, I'm looking forward to backing it the next Kickstarter. No, I'm like I will stay away as well.
You know, I must
yeah.
have in a past life have gotten something to give me a ton of bad karma, because that's all it is. If you want to gift somebody some bad karma, you know, if you want to say that
Yeah.
life has been bad to you or you deserve pain and suffering, you can give them this game.
Oh man, yeah. How do you really feel about this game, Chris? No,
Luddites got a rant. Yeah.
Luddites
The Teberu themselves is a Luddite. They must
Yeah.
be Luddites. The company creating them must be comprised only of Luddites, because they clearly don't understand technology. Remember how we were saying that technology was going bad at the beginning of this stream? You haven't seen bad technology until you've seen the Teberu system.
I'm curious though. So because I haven't heard of this game, I don't know the reaction around it. Did it like really? Was it a huge Kickstarter campaign? Did it really?
It
like-
did well. It's still doing well. It's like latest thing, because the software itself is so expensive. They're like, to even play this game, you have to buy our Teberu system, which is like 150 pounds or
What?
something.
Oh my gosh!
It's like, or 150 euro, right? It's
Still.
like, buy this thing, and then you can play a very mediocre game on top of it. And maybe we'll give you something good eventually down the line. Maybe.
Wow.
Perfect for crowdfunding, because that's the mentality for a lot of it. But yeah,
Scary.
just awful.
Yeah.
I know this is not new information to anybody who watches Ruined Board, but hopefully it's the last chance I have to talk. I had to do it on a different channel, team.
Yeah.
I had to do it on Rahdo's channel too.
Yeah.
Spread
Well,
the good news.
We're happy to hear your rant. That was phenomenal. And
I agree with everything Chris has said.
I'm just
Thank
gonna
you,
say,
Jade.
what's Jade think about it? Oh my
Thank
gosh,
you, Jade. Jade loves it.
Thank you,
Jade,
Jade.
yeah. Jade
All right.
also hates it.
Well, we're gonna move on to our number 2. Then Richard's gonna follow after me. Our collective number 2 is definitely not Bad Karma. It's a game. It's a cute little game that I was looking forward to. Our number 2 is called Zoomies. This is a tile laying game based on doggos, cute dogs, and you're laying down tiles, and that's pretty much it. It's just a I don't know, Carcassonne-ish. You have a stack of tiles. You're going to draw 2, place 1, and then you're going to place a scoring token. The scoring tokens may score the bones that are on the dog tile, or they're going to score a pack of dogs. You have leaders that can score different dogs that are adjacent, and that's pretty much it. You take turns. This is a 2-player run through that I did on my channel. It's a fine little simple game, and that's pretty much all I have to say about it. It was disappointing in the fact that I love dogs. I have 2 pugs named Meeple and Mookie, and we love our dogs. We are dog people here in this household. I got this game. I was like, yes, dogs. We love dogs. Yes, Tile Lane. We love Tile Lane. We played it. Okay, that's pretty much it. That was a fine game. We're gonna move on and play something else. It was fine, Chris. But it's something did not compel me much, and it didn't. The expectations were high because of the theme, and then after playing it, the theme was there, but the gameplay was just a-okay. Elements that we're all familiar with as gamers, and again, if you never played a modern game, I'm sure this would be fine. But for those of us in the hobby that are deep in the hobby, when we're not playing Bad Karmas, we're definitely playing this, and it was okay. But
honestly, that's maybe the most brutal takedown I've ever heard from you in my life, Ruel. Because I know you're so nice. You're like, if you've never played a modern game before, maybe you'd like it.
Yeah.
That feels like the most brutal thing that you've said. I will admit, I was distracted throughout that, because I was wondering if Hans and Gluck has ever has showed up at your door and tried to steal your pug from you, saying, "No, this is ours. Meeple's ours.
Yeah,
Meeple's ours."
Because I'm
that
here.
Hasn't happened yet?
Yeah, no, because I'm
okay.
here in the U.S. The Meeple word is actually copyrighted by Corey Thompson, and with Corey Thompson, all he asked for in the U.S. is to use the word Meeple, give him some candy, and I have given him candy, so I can use the word Meeple. So Hans and Gluck do not come out here and try to take my dog.
There we go. Yeah, Corey Thompson doing the board gaming, the U.S. board gaming lord's work.
Exactly. Yeah, shout out to Corey Thompson. But you know what? Yeah, Zoomies. That's pretty much all I have to say. I really wanted to love this game, Chris, and I feel like if they would have put a couple of pugs named Mookie and Meeple, maybe it would have
There you
made the game
go.
better. Who knows?
But honestly, let's blame Hans and Gluck then, because they were gonna, but Hans and Gluck they got scared off.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, we're no longer scared. We're going to move to Richard and find out what the number one game on this list is.
Okay, coming down to the big ones. And finally, Chris, I was again disappointed that you were saying things that I agreed with, but Bad Karmas and the Curse of Zodiac, oh man, Chris, you are so missing the boat on this. Now, I won't deny that, there might be some teething with this game. Any first product, any kind of, significant technological breakthrough is going to have some teething pains. I agree with that. I only got to play with a prototype of it. I never actually tried the final version. But I think this game is incredibly important, its existence, for the long-term health of the industry. And I don't know what you said here in this show, but I did watch what you said on your own channel about it, because it blew my mind that you said this. And honestly, every complaint you had about this game in that video is literally just old man shouting at cloud stuff, quite frankly. Everything you said, like, what was your big complaint in that video? That, everything could have been done with an app. Hey, Chris, that's true for every board game in existence. All of them could be apps. There's nothing new there. You had nothing interesting to say about it. Complaining about how it recognized, the rolling of the dice, that was ridiculous. I'm reminded of when I played this war of mine with a very good board game designer, Gordon Kalea, the designer of Vengeance and Fate Forge and all of that. And I was explaining to him how this war of mine plays, and he complained about, I need all the information. This game wants me to make decisions without knowing all the strategic, permutations or issues that I might face, all the consequences of my choice. And I'm like, dude, you're in a war zone. You don't know that. You're a civilian. Just make a choice to do what you would do in real life. And he's like, oh, yeah. I don't have to play a game with peak, super efficient strategy every single move. I can just go with the flow and see what the simulation does. That's what this game does. And you complaining about it just means you're a bit of a grognard. Is that the term? You're basically being a board game gatekeeper, because this game, the number one thing that keeps board games from breaking through to the mass market is frickin' rule books. And how hard it is with the barrier for entry. This game destroys that barrier for entry, and it seems like you're a bit frustrated by that because you can't know all the permutations of everything. You're just supposed to go with the flow, and you allow the app to help you through the game. It's not for you, man. It's for new players who would love to play something like Gloomhaven, but could never, ever crack that code. This game allows for that. It is a bright, bold potential future for our favorite hobby. Dude, you got it so wrong. Anyway, let's move on. Ruel, Zoomies. I think this is 3 for 3 that you've covered games that I really want to try. Although, actually, I did like a look at Zoomies, and I figured, as much as I love dogs, I don't think that's going to work for me and Jen either. So, that's a bit of a heartbreaker. But now we move on to number 1. But before we do that, hey, I'm in the caravan now. It's the tiniest little thing. Look at it. There's basically 2 benches. They slide, there's a thing that slides out, and then we can put a couple cushions down, so it becomes basically one, it's not a queen size, it's like a twin, I think, or something like that. We've been doing some experimenting with. That was one of the reasons we were on that trip that we filmed last time. When we went over to the UK for a few days, we had to do some other stuff. And but anyway, yeah, this is the spot. We've got some nice overhead. We got some under. We've got a lot of light. This thing has 1, 2 big skylights. And I'm so proud of this. I just have to show this off. Let me open this and let me see if I can get out here. I spent the last couple of months installing solar on the whole thing. This was all me, thanks to YouTube and AI. Helped me walk through all this, how to install these, how to wire them up. And it works great. 5 panels. Each one of them was only $50 from China, and they're really high quality things. Great job, America, giving the solar industry to China. I'm enjoying my Chinese solar panels. Anyway, though, What else? Oh, and then there's the kitchen. Like I said, Jen's in the process of loading up, and we're trying to figure out how best to stack this thing. Here is a bathroom. It's one of the wet ones where, it is the shower and the toilet, and there's this little thing that basically you put this door out to keep your toilet paper dry if you take a shower in here, because everything else can just handle the water. And that's going to be our home. This little thing plus that car right out there with that roof rack is going to be us for the next 3 months. Wish us luck. I imagine next time you see an R&R, I'll be on the road. Who knows where, because we don't know when the next R&R is. Anyway, though, tour over. Time for the number one most disappointing game of 2024. Clank Legacy 2, Acquisitions Incorporated, Darkest Magic. And before I get going, as a counterpoint to how upset this game made me, my wife loved it to pieces. It was probably her game of the month, and she wishes we were still playing it to this day. But I gotta say, folks, in my entire life of, what am I now, 56 years old, I think, I don't know that I have ever been more furious at a game, board game, video game, you name it, as I was trying to play through this 12-chapter legacy campaign based on the popular deck-building dungeon crawl game. In fact, this game made me so angry, I rage quit. We only made it 3 chapters in before I eventually said, no, I am done with this thing, and I literally threw it away. And I felt so terrible about that. And I really have to apologize to all the people who worked so hard on the production of this game. I mean, it's a beautiful production. The components are great. The writing is phenomenal, laugh out loud funny. And of course, Clank mechanisms are wonderful. Clank is a great little racing deck builder. But it seems that it was incompatible with what a legacy game required, because Clank is at its best when players are racing as fast as they can to get in and get back out, with the treasure before the dragon gets us. This game, because it is so overflowing with, bonuses and side quests and a million little things, it'll put stickers on cards and on the board and on unlock envelopes and boxes and all the stuff you would expect. It actively encourages you, I should say it fails if you are not spending a lot of time looking under every rock and dotting every I and crossing every T. It's fine. I mean, before we actually started playing, I had some friends who had played it and had quit halfway through, and I asked why, and they said, well, it was getting to where, for the 3 of us, they were playing a 3-player game. It was taking us 4 or 5 hours a session, and it just wasn't worth it. It just, didn't have enough gameplay for that much time. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is Clank. You must be playing something wrong. And then cut to a half year later, I'm playing it with Jen, and yeah, it's taken us 3+ hours to make it through a session, because if you just race in and race out, most of the stuff you'll miss. The game wants you to go to the far reaches of the board, travel much further than you normally ever would, because, I've got some quest to make it all the way up there so that I can, talk to the person or do the thing or whatever. And if you don't do it, the stuff disappears. It goes away. There's timers on this stuff. So again, you are heavily encouraged to spend a lot more time in a given session than you would ever normally do. If you actually try to race to win the game, yeah, you might win the game, but you'll get nothing for it. And that was the thing that really frustrated both me and Jen. So much of the game we knew we were missing, both because if we raced and didn't actually stop and try to explore everywhere and make the game take twice as long as it should, the things would eventually go away, because you have a boss who, if you don't do the stuff in time, your boss says, I took care of that for you. And it's like, we want to do that game. Stop stealing the adventure from us if we're actually trying to play the game the way it's supposed to be played. But anyway, so that was one thing. And then the other thing was, because we were playing only 2-player, almost without exception, at the end of every adventure, there was like, and what about that other subplot? Yeah, you know what? Since you're only playing a 2-player game and you're not playing 4 players, the character who wasn't in the game, they took care of that. You didn't get to see how that story was resolved. And the number of times that happened, that actually frustrated Jen too, that we kept missing out. We kept feeling like we were missing out on stuff, and we didn't want to miss out on more stuff, so we had to take forever. And now, that would be okay. I mean, I've played long games before, but then the other problem was the unrelenting luck of the draw, because there are so many cool, fun things scattered all throughout the world. And, you could go out of your way and spend like 4 or 5 turns trying to get from one side to the other, dealing with all the deck building, puzzly nature to finally get there. And you make it all the way over there and wow, I found an entrance to a cave and I met a dragon and I did all kinds of stuff and I rode out of the cave on the dragon and now I've got this cool new card in my deck and it's awesome. Oh, that was worth it. Or you could spend an equal amount of time working so hard to make it all the way over there, and in the process, really kind of hurting the overall Clank experience, because the Clank experience is supposed to be just get in and get out. It's a race. Except, I'm doing all this, I'm spending all this time in a pit stop. And you get all the way over there, and you're this character? Yeah, you can have a couple of coins. That's it. And here was our experience. The first session we played, game 1, which, by the way, thanks to Rob's Gaming Table, I've got his video on screen because I did try to record some of Game 1, and I stopped recording halfway through and deleted that. I was already starting to get pissed at the game. But anyway, in the first game, it was going great for me. I was having a blast, a bunch of neat stuff, and Jen spent the entire first game just felt like she was spinning her wheels, achieving nothing, and was very frustrated. But then we played the second game, and the tables turned, and now Jen is having these amazing, awesome experiences, opening up boxes and leveling up her character, and no matter what I do, we both agreed. I was making the right choices. I was saying, okay, I should clearly go over and do that. That's part of my character's backstory, and this and that and the other thing. And inevitably, every single time, I got there too late, or, it's a couple of coins, or, yeah, you know what? You don't actually have a card like this, so the upgrade you get doesn't really do you any good. And the number of times that happened to me, repeatedly, over and over, while meanwhile, on the other side of the table, Jen's having these epic, amazing experiences, opening all kinds of cool treasure chests, and it's just, we both agree, it was dumb luck. Could have just easily gone the other way. And after 3 games of this happening to either me or her, I was done. Dunsville. It was just, I found that the game made me resent my wife's joy and happiness. That she was having a great time, and I was so miserable that it was making, I hated that. I hated that the game brought that out of me, because I don't like to think that that's the person I am. I'm definitely always trying to be positive and upbeat and make sure everybody's having a good time, and I just couldn't do it. And like I said, when the game is clicking for you, it's great. And when the game is not, it makes you miserable. And it's just total dumb luck which way it's going to go. And again, after 3 sessions of it, which was about 10 hours of gameplay, I had enough. And I tossed it. And I never covered it. And my apologies again to Dire Wolf and everybody else. Again, there's a lot of people out there who loves it. My wife, she raved about it. I think she gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I think it'll be in her top 10 of the year for the amount of time she got to play. She forgot all about her bad experiences. She only remembers the good experiences. All I remember is the bad. And suffice to say, folks, I found Clank Legacy 2, especially because Clank Legacy 1 didn't seem to suffer from these problems at all. But Clank Legacy 2, it was a bit of a disappointment, and it makes the top of our list. Back to you guys.
Wow. Richard, I am so sorry to hear about that. I want to play Clank Legacy 2 because Clank Legacy 1 was one of my all-time favorite Legacy experiences. So to hear this, wow. I'm pretty shocked.
Well, you know what it sounds like to me, Ruel? It sounds like this game is sort of pushing forward what board games could do. You know what I mean? Like it's giving like a lot of narrative. It's giving a lot of like randomness. And in fact, it seems like Richard had a problem with not knowing what was going to happen, which that kind of sounds like another game to me. But honestly, it just reminded me, it just seems like an old man yelling at clouds to me because he just wasn't happy with not knowing the outcome of what was going to happen. But I think this game is pushing forward the board gaming industry, the innovation of the Legacy experience, and what can happen. But ultimately, it just seemed like Richard was going to the cloud. Oh my Jade, how did you get up there? Oh my Jade, that is Jade. Where did you come from? What is this? What is attached to you? Oh my God, Richard,
It's not because things are unknown. In fact, if you cleared the wax out of your ears instead of talking about your Ireland home and its 5 bathrooms, you might have actually realized that that was the only good point of the Temeru system. The bad part is that it makes people do its play testing for them, that it's a system that doesn't work, that it's not innovative, and that it sells people alive.
Jade, please. No, we don't want that sort of energy on this channel. Richard is a respected game reviewer and wants to know that it's okay for you to not know when things are going to happen. And that's actually, and I agree with that. I agree that is the better part of the bad karma system. That is the better part of Clank Legacy 2. I think that's what you were saying before it made you mad at your wife's joy.
Oh,
Um,
all-time rants, folks. Let's give it up for
what were we
Rahdo
talking
and
about,
Chris
Ruel?
George, folks. 2 all-time rants here on the R&R show. That was incredible. Also, shout out to special guest Jade as well. Wow. Yeah, Chris, I don't know what else to say after that.
Yeah.
Amazing. This has been an amazing show as we started the start of the show. But you know what? We've got more games to talk about. We're going to give it back to Richard for a few more minutes. He's going to give us his entire top 10 list of most disappointing games of 2024. And if you're watching live, be sure to drop in the comments. Let us know which ones you would vote for your biggest disappointments.
Yeah.
Okay, I have calmed down now. Apologies, got a bit ranty there at the end. One of the reasons I don't like going negative on the channel is a general rule, because I can get dark when I do, and I like being a beacon of positivity. I'd rather shine a light than curse the darkness, but I'm going to continue cursing the darkness right now, because I'm now going to do a quick run through of the 10 biggest disappointments I had last year. You've already heard my top 4. What else was there? Well, at number 10, there was Slay the Spire. I was very excited about this because I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. But in all honesty, I was left unimpressed. It was fine. So really, this is just a disappointment because it failed to live up to the hype that I had built up for me by others. It was just okay. Let's see, number 9. Oh, this one broke my heart. Star Trek Lower Decks Buffer Time. I am the biggest Star Trek fan in the universe. Lower Decks is my favorite Star Trek. Lower Decks is my top favorite TV shows of all time in my top 10. So any board game based on it, I was going to have to check out. And then I really like the idea of a cooperative push your luck game. With all the humor and and all references to one of my favorite shows. And it delivered that. It's interesting, they don't even list a designer on this thing here on Board Game Geek. And man, it's not sitting very pretty in the overall rankings. There's nothing to it. Now, maybe it's better with more than 2, because every player has a special power they can use to mitigate the pushing your luck. And at 2, I'd say the biggest mistake they made at 2 players is, hey, there's only 2 of those special powers. Instead, if I were playing 4 or 5, there'd be 4 or 5 special powers, so we'd have more control over the push your luck. It goes beyond push your luck to just coin flipping as a 2-player game, and it really broke my heart. It could have been better, and maybe it is better with more players. If you got 5 people around the table and they're saying, oh, no, wait, here, we can use my power to solve this problem. In a 2-player game, they should have done the work. They didn't do the work. It broke my heart. Number 8 was AI 100% Human. And remember, this is disappointments. This is not bad games. AI 100% Human is a phenomenal design. It is a great card drafting, 7 Wonders Sushi Go style. Hey, I pick one and hand the rest to my neighbors. But it does so many cool things so differently. And here's the deal. I played it at the Dice Tower West convention, my final one, before we moved, and I played it as a 4-player game with Jen and 2 other showgoers, and I was blown away. I thought, this could be in my top 10 of the year. Cut to several months later, I finally get a copy of it, and I tried to play it as a 2-player game, and oh no. The way that they introduced the 2-player made it more cutthroat than it needed to be and made it way more complex than it needed to be. I was not happy at all with how it was scaled to work with 2 players. Kind of shades of, the Glass Road, Black Forest thing. Although, it didn't become quite so cutthroat as that, but still, this one I'm so disappointed because as a 4-player game or a 3-player game, literally one of the best games of 2024. It's not just me. Z Garcia of the Dice Tower agreed as well. But unfortunately, as a 2-player game, if you're a Mensa candidate, maybe you would find it, or if you were a super expert at the game. But for me and Jen, it became too burdensome trying to deal with the 2-player scaling the way they did it. So I was a bit disappointed. That was number 1098. Number 7 was Divinus, another legacy game. And I guess maybe I got to take back what I said before. I guess legacy games can work as a competitive game because Divinus was working. Jen and I, we played through about half the campaign, and we were having a great time with this dice building game. Really sharp. It's a dice building tile laying game. There's a lot to like here. But I got halfway through the campaign and we ran into a problem that the rules did not have an answer for, and we didn't know how to proceed in the campaign. So I asked on Board Game Geek, and the designer, the publisher, nobody ever answered. I actually wrote to my contact in the publisher, said, look, we're stuck. I can't keep playing. I don't know how to resolve this. The rules don't say what to do in this circumstance, which, by the way, is a circumstance that is much more likely to happen with 2 players. With 4 players, it would never happen because of the way the distribution of resources. But as a 2-player game, it could definitely happen. I bet it happens to a lot of people. And so I asked the publisher. They said, oh, that's a good question. We'll get back to you. I waited weeks, months, never heard back. And so eventually I had to say, okay, well, I guess I'm never going to finish this game and I'm never going to cover it. And so I was very disappointed because Jen and I were both really enjoying our time up until that moment in Divinus. Then we've got Beyond the Horizon. This is the sequel to Beyond the Sun, which I thought was a brilliant engine builder, which just suffered from being needlessly aggressive in the area control game, as you're trying to colonize the galaxy and you're trying to muscle other people out of what they've invested in, and like, oh, I love the engine building, I hate all this area control stuff. So I was so excited when, oh, the engine building is back. And now they've replaced the more aggressive stuff with civilization expanding. There's a little bit, but it's really, it's much more live and let live. And in fact, me moving into your territory creates opportunity. So I was so happy. I was going to get all of the great engine building, and now with the area control game that I like. And I did like it. But in the time they did this, they also changed the engine building and made it much more simplistic, much more dumbed down and random. Actually, I should say, they used the standard rules from Beyond the Sun. Beyond the Sun had an advanced mode for the engine building, which was phenomenal. And they cut that advanced mode. And so they severely neutered the engine building while fixing. And so you can imagine, I was disappointed. Then what else have we got? Oh, the last one, the White Castle Mancha. Chris, you had a expansion, so do I. The White Castle Mancha. White Castle is in my top 50 of all time. A phenomenal game, and one of the main reasons it's so good is because it's so fast. It does so much with so little, just 9 quick turns, and yet the game is so rich and deep and evolves and escalates, and it's perfect. It's a gem. It's one of the all-time greats. And so they bring in expansion, and there's neat stuff. Hey, there's this whole extra thing you can deal with, going into the garden and geishas, and yeah, that's all fine. But what did they do? They turned it from a 9-turn game into a 12-turn game. Now it takes more than an hour to finish. And a big part of what made the game so special is gone. It's speed. I'm so desperate to get things done and I have so little time. Now with 12 turns, even though there's more to do because there's a whole extra section of the board, I feel like I can do anything I want. And a lot of the pressure and tension has just dissipated. And so they didn't have to do it that way. They could have said, hey, look, here's all these new things you can do, but you still have to play a 9-turn game. You just have to figure out, and you feel even more tension as you try to get stuff done. But that's not what they did. They increased the game by 25%, the length of the game. And that hurt the game, and it made it worse. And so I was disappointed. And then you already heard my number 4, SETI, my number 3, Wyrmspan, my number 2, Black Forest, and my number 1, Legacy Acquisition Incorporated, Darkest Magic. And okay, that's it. What do you guys have?
Wow. Oh, Jade, you're back. Jade.
Oh yeah.
Jade?
Well, Jade actually wanted to come out. Jade was also Jade just wanted to. She's shy now. She's gone back to shy. She just wanted to give everybody a big hug. Were her words. Actually. Yes, let me give you a hug. We love Jade also felt like her aggressive side came out. And she just wanted to also just shout out Blackboard Gaming again, the number 1 fan of Jade. And don't think I don't love that. to probably my biggest excitement of the year is Blackboard Gaming's perception of Jade. I'm very serious. I'm 100% serious.
I love
I'm
it.
so happy. We're now best buds forever. Yeah. Okay. I wanted to make sure that you knew that a jump scare wasn't coming. That's what Jade wanted to do.
I am
I
horrified.
think that was a really interesting. I think it was a really interesting list from Richard. The one thing that I wanted to talk about was White Castle Matcha, because I recently put that on expansions that like I would want to pick up. I also love White Castle. I think White Castle is so good.
Yep.
But that also was my concern. I think that happens with a few expansions, and where they extend the game, and like engine builders, the ones that find that sweet spot, almost don't need those expansions to extend the game length, because you're already in the pocket, you're already in that sweet spot. So while I still want to try matcha, I also like that definitely speaks to the worry of that sort of thing.
There's something,
and I think it's good. I don't think Richard needs to apologize for getting frustrated either, because I think it's nice to see Richard in particular, who is probably the sunniest board gamer out there and like one of the most positive people. I think we're all pretty positive, but I think it's great to see these things also not hitting as well. That there are a bunch of things that don't hit, and often as like board gamers, we will talk about the things naturally that we love, and you'll see that positivity. So it is. I think these sort of lists are important to like be like, oh yeah, there are things that fail, and it's okay to not like a game. It's also okay to not like a game that everybody else seems to like as well, which you saw on a lot of like Richard's picks with like Wyrmspan, for example.
Exactly. Yeah, and as you know, as we've done this list, and Richard again did not like Clank Legacy 2, and he chose not to cover it. And people forget that there's a lot of games that you and I don't cover. And for me personally, Chris, I won't cover stuff that I don't like either. Like, I just don't want to put the energy of like having to set everything up, film it, do the video or live stream, whatever. I've got better things to do with my time. There's a ton of games out there that I do like that I will put on on screen. So So I don't know.
I barely got time to cover the good ones. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
It's hard.
Yeah. So, folks, let us know again in the comments what games disappointed you in 2024. And as we said at the start of the show, I feel like 2024 was actually a pretty strong year for games. There weren't. It was tough for me to come up with games to put on this list for this show. Like and even as you saw, Tower Up, as much as I didn't like it at the time, the more I did my research and I thought about my experience, I was like, I'm going to give that one another shot. Who knows? Maybe we could start a game next, or a list next time, like best comebacks of the year. Like maybe Tower Up's going to be my comeback game of the year, where I didn't like it, and all of a sudden it's like one of my favorites. Who knows? So yeah. Chris, any honorable or dishonorable mentions you want to?
Can you think of anything else?
Do you have any games that you want to talk about? That
no, honestly,
yeah.
I feel like we might be out of sync from that last one. It feels like I might be cutting in and talking over.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll just give giant monster truck pauses after things.
There you go.
For me, or I'll try to talk in paragraphs.
Yes.
For me, the only other one was maybe because Santorini finally dropped, and I love Santorini, but I also like when I covered it, I wasn't a huge fan of the cooperative mode, which is just a solo mode that they were pretending was a cooperative mode, and I played it cooperatively, and I was like, nah. It's not not for me. But yeah, otherwise there were a lot of really good ones in 2024. That's the only sort of thing that I would cover, and I will now end my speaking.
Okay, so Chris is talking about Santorini. Riddle of the Phoenix, I believe, is the one that allows you to play solo. I just picked this up, so I'm looking forward to trying it, because I do like Santorini, but I was curious, how are you going to make this into a solo game? So, but even if it wasn't for you, I'm going to give it a shot. I had one other one that might have made my list. It was a game called Hi-Fi from Smirk and Dagger, whose games I usually like. This one I enjoyed. Again, it was perfectly fine, but I love the production of this. It literally looks like a turntable. It is gorgeous. And what you're doing is the turntable is actually like a rondelle, which is sort of cool, right? And you're doing some set collection. You're managing hand management, placing the cards onto the different tracks as you create a song. The cat is not included in the game, as you see there in the picture. But I liked it. I wanted to love the game again, sort of like Zoomies. I came in expecting one thing, and again, the game was fine. It just didn't blow me away that like I thought, because the production value was like through the roof. So I would definitely play it again, but it was disappointing the fact that it wasn't like, you know, mind blowing or whatever. But again, that's our expectations, and that's why it was disappointing. So, friends in chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And if you're watching the VOD on YouTube, thank you for checking out the show. I'm gonna pause right now to give Chris, because again, technology, folks. Chris, you got any final words? I'm gonna keep talking until you start talking, my friend, and then I'm just gonna stop talking. Do you have any final thoughts?
Okay, yeah. So for my final thoughts, as I come in here with some final thoughts, I think I said them. I think I said them in that sort of big paragraph as I realized that we were out of sync. I was like, all right, I just better keep talking and get them all out of the way, and then I'll make space, so we don't have to worry about the back and forth. But yeah, for me, I think these sorts of lists, they come into two camps. I think they're also very valuable to see that you're not going to have good game experiences. And I think it's also important to be able to isolate and identify why, and hopefully like that can then inform your decisions for future games. Like my neighbor, not friend Yuval, just came out with his first published game, How to Save a World. And like I played it with people over the summer, and there was drastically different opinions. And so I was like, okay, I really want to like hone in and see like, why was this such a struggle for you? How can I like tailor that for like other games, and really figure out why this really broke your brain in a way that it like other games that I thought were similar don't, right? Because people are going to have such wildly different tastes, and I think it's okay to take the bad with the good, and it's okay to not like things and have different opinions from other people as well. And so I appreciate that, and I also appreciate our sponsor for getting us together. That's the thing I'm not disappointed about, is that we have our lovely sponsor, Goblins Hate Christmas, for sponsoring this episode. Perhaps sort of a darker themed episode, but not a bad episode, right? Like these disappointments, we also know that we are not infallible, and if you love this game, we want to hear why, and we want to hear why you love it, and sharing that love is very exciting, even though like I may actively despise something, other people could really love it. And I think that's a very joyful thing to exist in this world.
Yeah, well said, Chris. Folks, again, drop those comments in the comments below here, and be sure to check out our sponsor, Goblins Hate Christmas, now on Kickstarter. Okay, on behalf of Richard and Chris, this is Ruel signing off. We'll see you next time. So long. Take care. Bye-bye.